listening to the Wandering Womb podcast with Jess and Jamie. Strong women, strong drinks, strong views, and strong language.
Hey, it's so good to be back. Okay, hang on. I need to top up. Did you? Oof, I thought you were going to drop that then.
I almost did. That's why you thought correctly.
Oh, there's not that much left in this bottle.
That sounded like a dribble.
That was so like anticlimactic.
Wow.
That was depressing. Okay, well at least we brought another bottle up.
Well, it's not a full bottle, but...
Oh, okay. We've got such an interesting thing to talk about today. Oh, can you top me up? What? Oh.
Ready?
Yeah, go on then. Why does that sound like you're next to someone in a toilet cubicle? In a public toilet?
Do you know what we should do? We should actually test it, and we should put it side by side and get the listeners to identify which one was pouring someone.
How would you get? Hang on a minute. How would you get the recording of someone having a wee? I'm not doing that.
Good point.
I'm not being responsible for that.
Yeah, no, good point.
God, no. Yeah, it's been a long time. The last time we recorded, some of you heard it and like emailed us frantically and was like messaging us on social media saying that the audio had corrupted for it, and it had, and it was just so bad. And I just didn't even know what was wrong with it because it looked like it had gone through fine, and then it uploaded and it was terrible, so I had to delete it.
Yeah. I wonder if we should check this one.
It should be no, it'll be fine.
Okay.
I uploaded it when we were in Santorini, and I think that the Wi-Fi was like shite.
Oh, okay.
The first one somehow managed to get up unscathed, but this one seems okay.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, anyway, so it was, we had loads going on. We came back from our honeymoon, didn't we?
Yeah.
Second honeymoon, because we're extra as fuck. And just like jumped right back into work and life and stuff. And then you've said it a couple of times, sort of like we really should get back on the podcast and stuff. And then we've just like logged in and seen we've had 90,000 downloads.
That's
90,000 downloads. Who in the fuck's listening to this? I still don't know the answer to that,
I think that we possibly come up in search results.
Unlucky for them. They get tricked like, oh, what's this? This sounds really interesting, and it's just us two having a drink and talking shit. Although, maybe that's what people like.
I think it's light-hearted and it's interesting.
How the fuck? It's not light-hearted at all.
The way that we communicate it is light-hearted.
The way we communicate is light-hearted.
Exactly.
The topics are not.
Yes.
That could be a review. Can you imagine people like scrolling through their podcast options and like things that are coming up, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm really sick.
Light-hearted but yet serious.
I'm really sick of listening to well-produced podcasts. I know what I'll do. I'll listen to this one. It's clearly two women drinking with two lapel mics on.
Don't give away our secrets.
That's what I want. Fuck all these expensive podcasts where people have put thought into them and are sober whilst they fucking record them. Who wants that? Anyway, so I've got a really interesting topic to talk to you about today. And it was this week or last week, Britney Spears deleted her Insta.
Yes.
And I was gutted, to be honest with you. Like, I feel dead sad that she's had to do that. And I don't know whether she's been told to or whether she's decided. So I'm not going to assume that she's been made or somebody's told her to or because I really don't know. But I thought that we could talk about what has been happening with Britney Spears and how how she's been communicating and the things that she's been saying, things she's been doing on social media in the last few months.
Yeah.
Because it's been interesting, both of us.
It's been, yeah. We'll get into the questions.
Okay. Well, the first thing is that I wanted to start off by saying that it's not the first time me and you have had a discussion about her social media.
No, absolutely. It's something that we've been discussing for a while now.
And I would hope you wouldn't mind me saying that both me and you have been taken by surprise several times when we've opened Instagram, like in public places, or whilst we're having a conversation with our kids, or like when your mum's here and it's just a completely naked picture of Britney just on our phones, like, and you're just like, oh, fucking hell. And like we've both said, it feels like voyeurism. Like it feels like you shouldn't be able to see that. And then we've had really complicated conversations about, like, it's her body, it's her life, she's grown up, she's making choices to post the things she wants to post. Why are we so uncomfortable?
I think that it makes, from my perspective, I think it makes me uncomfortable because I feel like she isn't in a place where she is feeling good.
But how do we know that? What if she's feeling amazing and that's why she's posting them?
I guess I don't really mean it like that. I think that she is, but I think that... How do I explain? I don't know how to explain it. It feels like... It feels like almost like exploitative when people watch her. But at the same time, I also acknowledge that loads of people are liking her pictures to show her support. And at the same time, the reason she is posting such like naked pictures so often is actually just almost like an embodiment of her saying that she is free.
Yeah, and I think that that's something...
It's coming from it. It's a trauma. It's almost like a trauma response. Is it healthy? Is it not? That's not really up to me to decide. And I think that's where me feeling uncomfortable is it a healthy or not trauma response? But equally, you know, without a doubt, at the moment, it makes her feel better and it makes her feel good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, why are people so concerned about her uploading pictures of herself naked or like loving her body or whatever, when like 99% of like women in that same industry in Hollywood are uploading pictures of themselves with fuck all on, and that's seen as like power and seen as like sexy. But if Britney does it, it's seen as like part of some sort of vulnerability or a breakdown. And that is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the fact that no matter what she's been through, and the fact that she's had that conservatorship released, and it is very clear that she's been abused and controlled, people can't see her as somebody with autonomy. They can't. Like, they can't see it.
I think that that's perhaps because they don't think that she does.
No, that's what I mean. But if you can't play both sides of the coin, and like what I mean by that is like you can't go, there's nothing wrong with Britney. She's been abused and she's been held in a conservatorship by her dad for 13 years where she was being exploited, controlled and medicated. There's nothing wrong with her, take her out of the conservatorship. And then when she comes out of the conservatorship and makes choices as a grown adult with mental capacity that has been proven, hence why the conservatorship has been released, you can't then go, oh, well, she's clearly not well, is she?
I think...
You can't do both.
I think that actually what people are seeing is that conservatorship was wrong and she was harmed and abused for such a long time in it. And I think that it for me it looks like she, I don't know, is exhausted, and
you would be,
I think people feel almost like a little bit protective of her. I don't think people are doing it in like she's obviously like crazy.
Well,
some people are.
Hundreds of posts like that.
Like some people are, but I also think that some people I also think that some people, and a lot of people, feel that they don't feel comfortable looking at these images.
I know for me, like, this is purely personal, nothing to do with Britney. I don't follow anyone or anything that's like pornified or like sexual or naked. So if I open my phone and I'm scrolling through fucking like recipes and like shit like that, I'm like, oh look, golden retriever Instagram, you know, like, which is what my Instagram's like. And then like suddenly it's a completely naked picture of a woman. I do instantly feel like, oh my god, how is that on my phone? And then I like scroll past it like I'm embarrassed. Like, that I'm not prepared to look at that. But also I think, like, I followed her years ago because I was definitely one of many who was absolutely convinced that she was being abused in that conservatorship and that there was something very, very wrong happening to her. And we were right. All of us that felt like that were right, ultimately. And, you know, the Free Britney movement and stuff, they were bang on the fucking money from the beginning.
Yeah.
They've been talking about that for years. They knew the score.
Do you remember when
Nobody listened to them?
Do you remember when they all posted on one of the posts where they said, if you need help, wear yellow in your next video.
And then she did.
Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah, I know.
And people were like, oh my god.
And do you know what as well? People, do you know what fucking
They
pisses
did
me
so
off
well
about
with that.
Is that the amount of like media journalists and other people that were like,
It's a conspiracy
theory. Exactly. And you were like, and like, what pisses me off about that, sorry, I'd have to do a whole other podcast on conspiracy theories, is that there are so many things happening in the world that are legitimate concerns, and they all get passed off as a conspiracy theory so that nobody listens.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was one of them.
Like, exactly the same as Avril Lavigne being replaced by Melissa.
I can't believe you just put them things together.
I don't get it. Why are you laughing?
You fucking knob. But no, like,
no, I'm joking. But
like,
that was what it was.
Saying
that was what it was.
Warming's a conspiracy theory. Do you know what I mean?
No, but that was what it was being played as. Is that it was being seen as the same celebrity gossip conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it was.
That was how. It
was on the same level. Yeah. No, agreed. Yeah.
And you know, and obviously now this has all happened, and I still sort of hold the view that we can both at the same time, like, you know, sort of simultaneously acknowledge that what she has been through is really traumatic and there was actually nothing wrong with her, and used her mental health against her to say that she wasn't capable, she wasn't trustworthy, she wasn't, you know, sort of able to live as an independent adult.
Yeah.
But equally acknowledge the impact that is going to have on her long term, and acknowledge that, I don't know about necessarily using the word vulnerable, but the ways in which that she's sort of posting these nude pictures, I feel is more about her way of expressing herself, that she is free and has freedom and is connecting back, but equally that she has grown up where she has been sexualised, where everyone around her has been sexualised, where people, you know, like celebrities like her are posting naked pictures, but she doesn't quite get the very specific and almost tightrope, which we can do a whole other feminist analysis on it, of being sexy or a slut. So you've got other celebrity women posting images that are on the same lines of how sexual they are and how nude they are, but they're doing it in a controlled sort of environment, whereas she's on the beach being like, oh, I'm going to strip all my clothes off, gets a mate or a husband to take a pixelated somewhat image of her, where she sticks emojis on it and then uploads it straight away. And it's almost like it makes her more personable, to the same way that, the girl in your class,
like highly produced, like they're not on a set somewhere.
Yeah, that the same as like the girl in your class when you were in high school posts images, it makes her feel more real, and that is where I think people feel the vulnerability in that. Why isn't she being, sort of produced in the same way? But actually, she is rejecting that.
Yeah,
it's very, very complicated.
There's also, I think, a really interesting question about why is it okay for everybody else to sexualise her, but she can't do it herself?
I actually think that people shouldn't be sexualised.
No, I mean her whole fucking career. So under a conservatorship, she was being sexualised. So like her whole fucking family and entourage and management had decided that she didn't even have capacity to look after her own fucking bank account, where she had to be like force-fed medication every day that she didn't want, right? But they were all right sexualising her and selling her and getting her to like dance with no clothes on for years, right? But now she's completely free. She's putting posts up, and everyone's got a fucking problem with it. Like, oh, why? Because what? Nobody's profiting from it because it's not polished, because it's not produced, because she hasn't been paid, 10 million quid for the front cover of Vogue or whatever. Like, bullshit. There's something not quite right there about how everybody was okay with it under a conservatorship where her dad was profiting from her sexualisation, but now nobody's profiting from it. It's fucking awful.
I think that before, though, people viewed it as her being, before we knew, people viewed it as her being a consenting adult who understands what's going on, because it was very much hidden. And now we know what's happened, and now she's in control of her own social media. People are able to see that actually it might not be like that. And I think people are hypersensitive to it at the moment because we all know what she's been through. That people are thinking maybe she can't be making these decisions, but maybe it isn't as clear as how we perhaps perceive, I don't know, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, J-Lo doing these semi-nude photo shoots.
That's just brought me onto something that I actually haven't listed in the questions, but can we just talk about the fact that Britney's reference points are often like Christina Aguilera and other women that were very famous at the same time as her, and people are making out that she's like lashing out, taking fucking side swipes at them or something, right? I'm sorry, but like I read those posts before she deleted her Instagram, and they did not come across like that to me at all. No, they are her point of reference.
She's trying to explain. People forget
she was famous at the same time as them.
Well, people also forget that she got fucking launched into Disney when she was like 9 or 10 years old. Got pulled out of school. By the way, pulled out of school. Ended up being at one point she was the most famous person in the world, and
absolutely.
on top of that she was being abused, she was being paraded around, there would have been very little time for her to develop academically. If her point of reference and her way of explaining things is sort of just to type it out, as most people would do, then that's fine. And I don't think that she is try to do anything maliciously at all. She's just trying to explain things.
She is. And also, I would say...
But just because she's not doing it in a way that you should do it as an influencer on social justice doesn't mean that she's trying to be offensive.
I don't think either. And I think the media really love to whip this up, but I don't think that her comments were actually... Right, so for those of you that don't know what we're talking about... Britney wrote a post about being body shamed and about her body image and about the how much pressure she was under all the time to not eat and stuff.
And she said specifically that they kept on choosing really skinny backup dancers
that made her look bigger, and it made her self-conscious, right? So then she had to starve herself and not eat.
And then they said that you're too big and you need to be smaller than your backup dancers or same size.
Exactly, right? And then what she did was she said, this never happened to Christina Aguilera. They were, her production company were deliberately picking backup dancers that were bigger than Christina to make Christina look smaller in comparison, right? That's not Britney taking a swipe at Christina Aguilera. She's talking about the industry. She's talking about system. She's talking about
and she was
choices.
actually talking about herself though as
she
well.
Was
she
talking
said,
about herself and about the impact
how,
on her body,
yeah,
body
and
image.
And she was saying, I would have felt differently.
Yeah.
How do you think I would have felt if actually they'd have chosen the same backup dancers for me that they did as Christina?
Yeah, and I don't for a moment think that was anything like malicious or salty towards Christina Aguilera at all. I think that she was trying to make the point with her point of reference, which was another young woman who was known to her, who was very famous at the same time as her, who were doing similar music videos to her at that time, and it makes sense to her to compare those two things, right? And I think that I saw a couple of celebrities proper way into this as if Britney had gone at Christina Aguilera, and I thought, grow the fuck up, will you?
They were accusing her of body shaming.
Yeah, they were, and I just thought, that's not what she said at all. And like, I'm really getting tired. I don't know whether it's just that because me and you had a massive break off social media over the summer, but like, I'm really getting tired of the way that you can read one thing that somebody said or done, and then you'll read like 10 different news outlets and they'll twist and twist and twist to the point where the way they describe something happening is not even remotely close to what actually happened. And I read the coverage of that and thought, nah, man, like that's not what happened.
I think as well, though, that it's just another one of the, like, I think we've done her such a fucking disservice that she needed our fucking help. We gave it her, and she was in people's good books until she made one comment where she was just slightly off, and she wasn't off in her intentions, but it was twisted, and then that was it. Fucking dropped.
Right, so that's my next question.
Which is like cancel culture again. Like, really, we're going to do that to Britney after everything that she's going through?
Well, that's my next thing that I wanted to talk about. Why are we so quick to go back to pathologising her after we've just gone and done this big global scandal about pathologising her? We've now gone back to pathologising her because she said one thing that we didn't agree with. Are you being serious?
I didn't really see about pathologising her, but
I've seen comments saying that she's clearly off her meds, that she's bipolar, that she needs to be like supported, that who's looking after her. I've seen everything and anything about her. I saw a comment the other day that said something on the lines of, along the lines of like, ever since she got out of that conservatorship, she's out of control. There's clearly nobody watching her and keeping an eye on her. There's clearly nobody watching her meds. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you go from doing a whole, what was it? Was it New York Times? Who did the big Washington Post? Anyway, so I think it was New York Times, but somebody did the big documentary, didn't they, on Britney? And it was their journalist that covered it all and did all the investigative journalism on it, right? And they did this huge documentary, and it went absolutely massive. It was huge coverage, and the world was talking about it for months, about pathologisation, about controlling her, about using her mental health against her, and so on and so forth. And now we're here, and it's like, oh, she's mad. Like, has nobody learned anything? Like, where do you think this is going to end? What's going to happen if thousands of people start claiming she's mentally ill again? What do they think the outcome of that's going to be?
Yeah. I think that the majority of the things that I actually saw, though, was people being like, this ain't it, Britney. And it was just filled with comments being like, wow, way to body shame Britney, like, and just people being like that
as well.
And it was just that over and over and over and over and over and over again, of people being like, just putting her back in her place, because they can, and it makes them feel good. And also, I think that social media is horrible, and that, if you're able to rally against something, that will get you more interaction than rallying for something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's like old phrases about hope being stronger than fear, but actually I don't agree. I think that it's actually the opposite, especially on social media, where before people were all being like, the conservatorship is bad, and I was like, yeah, bad, and then they've won, and then what else can they complain about is bad? Oh, Britney's put up something bad. Britney said this is bad, Britney said this, it's bad.
This is so interesting because I was walking from the office today and I was thinking the exact same thing but about love and hate. You know how like the sayings that like love is stronger than hate? I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think hate's stronger than love. And I think hate motivates people more than love does.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that the way that people come together, especially on social media, in order to hate something, someone, you know what I mean? When do you ever see that outpouring and coming together of love? Never, basically, compared to hate.
Yeah.
Like, there are entire movements on social media dedicated to just hating somebody.
Yeah.
Or hating a thing.
Well, look at politics, though. Politicians and political parties don't campaign on... I mean, there was one, and they didn't get very far, but they don't campaign on the good things that they could achieve and the hope for a better future. They campaign on, we're the better option because they're awful and they're bad and look at all the bad things they've done.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And that's how they win.
Do you know what? Somebody commented on my social media because I put a post up about Britney saying these are normal trauma responses. What you're seeing is trauma processing. What you're seeing is the way that she is currently coping and processing everything that happened to her, right? Somebody put underneath it, like, lol, are you saying leave Britney alone? Like, mocking, the Paris Hilton videos, right? And I thought, Paris Hilton was right, though. Mm-hmm. Like, you can fucking mock Paris Hilton all day. But they were fucking right,
She was
weren't they?
right.
Like, fucking... the whole time they were right. Yeah. And I was just like... it became like a meme of them being like crying into the camera, being like, leave Britney alone and all that sort of shit. But like, I actually agree. Like, I think we should be leaving her alone. And it, like, at the end of the day, if she needs, and this is my next thing, it's not just about the nudes at all. And those of you that are follow her will know that the other thing that she started doing was calling out her parents and her family.
Yep.
And that's the second thing that people really didn't like. Like, they were sort of like getting uncomfortable with the fact that she was actually speaking out and getting angry. And so I wanted to like ask you what your opinion was on, like, why do you think she is now speaking out and getting angry with her family?
Because she feels safe.
Yeah, there must be some distance between them for her to be able to do that. Maybe she's not speaking to them, or maybe she's away from them physically.
Yeah. I also saw somebody on TikTok who was talking, she was from the American South, and she was talking about how people are saying that, like, oh, like, Britney's posts are so weird, and she was being like, no, let me translate them for you. This is how so many of us speak who live around, like, who live down here. And she spoke them, and actually when she spoke them, there wasn't anything wrong, like,
no, it's like with the dialect and phrasing,
it
totally.
Actually was like perfect, made perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I think that because she is writing longer posts, particularly about like her parents and describing scenarios within them, because of, sort of dialect things and cultural things, it looks more unstable than it actually is, when actually she's just... It's an Instagram post. It's like 2 paragraphs long. It's not like a long rant. She's just being like, oh, so you did this to me, but yet you're saying this. Would you do that? No.
But also, when you're traumatised and when you're trying to process or explain something, you do generally lean back towards either your first language. So, like, if you I don't know, if you normally feel that you have to speak in English because of how, like, sort of dominant that is in society, when you then need to communicate deep feeling and distress, people often lean back to their first language, but often people also lean back to dialect and accent. So like people always say to me that I sound more Stokey or more Manc when I'm angry or when I'm upset. Right? That's not deliberate. I think that's because when you communicate emotionally, you lean back to sort of how you learn to talk.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
It's a very core
it is.
part of you.
And it makes
is
sense
your
that
emotions.
She's going back. And also, the second thing you need to understand is that years and years and years and years and years and years and years of her social media posts were not fucking written by her.
Yep.
Like, come on. Like, use your fucking brain. These are celebrities. They've got PR companies, social media companies. They've got people writing their fucking posts all day, every day. So, yeah, now she's got total control of her social media posts. And I can tell you something now. Celebrities of all backgrounds, of all kinds, whatever, like, you can tell the ones that write their own stuff versus the ones that don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they're not all, well versed. They don't all spell correctly. They're not, they don't understand words. They're just like everybody else. So you can tell the ones that run their own social media accounts, like, and most of them don't. You know what I mean? Or the ones that do are, like, meticulously checking spelling, grammar, because they're thinking, I'm going to get mocked, I'm going to get trolled, I'm going to get abused online, or the press are going to pick it up and make me look a prick.
Yeah.
Like, so...
Or they'll, like, run it past their agent.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So she's now, like... It made me just think from, like, a trauma-informed perspective, like, this is what happens. You need to let her get angry. She has to get angry. What did you think was going to happen? You're going to release her from this conservatorship. It was all going to be fucking butterflies and rainbows, and she was going to be like, oh, I'm so pleased, and now I feel loads better.
Yeah.
She has to get angry. She has to be allowed to get angry.
Yeah.
What did people think? She was going to skip that bit?
Yeah. And what do people think is going to happen when she's been sheltered for, like,
and
10 years?
Yeah.
Like... all she knows is this industry, and we know that this industry is one of the most toxic, misogynistic, abusive industries that there has ever been, especially now and particularly during the time that Britney was the most famous.
It's amazing that people are so uncomfortable with her being angry. It's almost like, so the media were allowed to be angry, and pundits were allowed to be angry, and bloggers were allowed to be angry, and feminists were allowed to be angry.
Yeah, but...
Everybody was allowed to be angry, but Britney is not allowed to be angry.
Because she's a woman, though, and...
Yeah, but even, like, women that were on the TV, like, let's say, news anchors,
were
allowed to be appalled and angry, but she isn't.
Yes, because they are being angry on behalf of someone else, which is seen as, like, an empathetic
activism.
Quality. It's seen as empathy and sympathy, which is a good quality to have.
Or feminine quality.
Exactly, in women. Whereas when a woman is angry for her own cause and sort of displays and holds people to account, it's seen as, like, messy or abrupt or what's the other word I'm looking for? Sort of...
unstable, chaotic.
Yeah, unstable.
Yeah.
And it makes people uncomfortable because women are supposed to forgive and forget and move on and be classy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she isn't, and it's making people uncomfortable.
But I actually don't think there's anything wrong with what she's doing.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
And do you know the other, like, there's so many hypocrisies and ironies in this. Like, for example, I seen comments being like, this is between you and your family, Britney. Why are you airing dirty laundry? Are you taking the fucking piss? Don't tell me you didn't watch that fucking documentary. You were all right about it all coming out when it was on the telly and in the fucking media, weren't you? Yeah. But now she wants to speak her fucking truth about it. Oh, don't air your dirty laundry. Mm-hmm. What a load of shit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, like, she's had this for so many years. Let her tell her story. If she wants to tell a story, let her do it.
Oh, honestly. Like I said to you, didn't I, when she first got that conservatorship, I couldn't give a shit if she disappeared for the rest of her life with her money and went and bought an island and lived out the rest of her days and never spoke to anybody in the media or anything ever again, and fucked off all the social media and just had a lovely, calm, relaxing, safe life. Or equally, I hope if it comes that she gets paid 100 million for her fucking autobiography. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't give a shit whichever one she picks, right? She has to be allowed to speak about what happened to her and what was done to her. Yeah, if she wants to. And equally,
and on her terms.
If she decides to disappear, she has to be allowed to disappear. She has to. You have to support her to disappear. She has been literally public property. She's been owned by a management company, her dad, but and other people, for years and years and years, where she was performing in Las Vegas every night.
Yeah.
And they were just drugging her up and pushing her on stage. Like, every single person, there's so many people that were culpable. There are so many people that were involved in this. Like, I saw her put a post up the other day before she deleted her Insta about like the therapists that were like actually colluding with this shit. Do you remember? Like, I don't know if you remember the post I'm on about.
Yeah.
Of her being like, you know, why did you do this to me? And I know you knew, and sort of like, you did this and you made me do this and you made me feel like this, and you know. And I think that even the therapists, like where are they? No one's being held accountable. Where are they? They just seeing other clients? Are they in Hollywood? Because they'll be big hitters. Those therapists, they're not going to be fucking anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, where are they now?
Yeah.
Where are the psychiatrists that were drugging her up and giving her family significant amount of sedatives and like antipsychotics to drug her up with? Where have they gone? Who are they? I want their names. I do.
I think that she is still on those as well.
I think you'll find that she'll, like, unless somebody safe works with her to taper her off safely. It sounds like, from her own accounts, she was on really high levels of some of these drugs. So, to be honest, going completely cold turkey could be really dangerous. But
that
leads
leads me on to
her off.
That leads me on to my next thing, which is, who the fuck is he?
Oh, I can't even get into that. Don't, because I
don't know if
like.
we should.
I don't know even if I can make a comment about that. Like, obviously, I'd talk to you privately about it, but.
Why did a family let him near her? Why is he still there?
I don't know.
I think we should probably not talk about it.
Let's not. I just...
bad vibes.
Yeah.
Always have.
Yeah, I know. But there's so many people, like, you're right though, like, there's so many people around her and have been around her. Like, for example... if we go back to the healthcare professionals that are involved, right? All those healthcare professionals, they're registered qualified professionals. Why has there been? Has there been investigations into their involvement in that? Because they're all regulated, and they're all registered.
You know
unless they're not.
You know what this industry is like. Look at Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Look at Camille Vasquez.
Yeah.
Like, look at all of the issues with the jury in that trial. She's registered.
Yeah.
They'll have regulatory bodies.
I don't know if... I mean, the thing is, because of confidentiality and stuff, you'd never find out if there was any investigations or action taken anyway, because it really isn't, you know, sort of, that's not the way it operates. But it just makes you wonder, especially with... I don't know, I think there's something really quite sinister about the fact that there was almost like on-call healthcare professionals that were in... Jamie's team, her dad's team, that were, like, she said herself in her own testimonies that she would go, before she went on stage, they would drug her up. They would, like, restrain her and drug her.
Yeah.
Like, so who the fuck was doing that? And where were they getting the drugs from? So they were either, I'm sorry, but like let's be clear here, they were either legally acquired or illegally acquired.
Yes.
So they were either legally acquired from a registered doctor or they were illegally acquired. Which one was it? And if they were being legally acquired from a registered doctor, somebody was involved in her medication. So why are they not under investigation? And are they? I mean, are they? Maybe we're wrong. I just feel like... anyway, if we go back to what we started on, which is that she's deleted her Insta.
She's on Twitter though.
Yeah, she is on Twitter. I don't know why she's deleted her Insta. Maybe she just needs a break. Maybe, like, I don't know. Maybe she has chosen to do it for a break or whatever. Yeah. Like, again, I don't want to make an assumption necessarily.
I've seen so many celebrities delete their Instagram after they've put up something that people don't like.
Although, to be honest with you, if you think about the fact that if you've got millions and millions of followers and you are getting, and you actually own your own social media, so that's on Britney's phone, right? And she's logging in and she's got 8,000 new notifications or 15,000 new notifications, right?
Of people being like, this is mean. Yeah. I don't agree.
Yeah,
but
people being like, delete this, like, who are you? Why you're ill? You know, you need help. You could see why it would be easier for somebody that's getting that level of abuse. It's not as simple as not logging in. It's better to just delete the whole account temporarily, because then nobody can interact with your posts. Like, nobody can do anything to you, can they? You're not going to come back, for example, to thousands and thousands of unread notifications because nobody can interact. Like that, I mean, maybe it's just as simple as that. It stops it. But I do think if we finish on one thing, it would be, you cannot have this both ways. If you're observing this, if you believe that she needs total autonomy and freedom, and that she was abused during that conservatorship and medicated and controlled and, pathologised, she is free now. She needs to be able to talk about what happened to her. She needs to be able to get angry at her mum and dad. Like, yes, fair enough, she's doing it publicly. Yes, you might not like it. Don't fucking follow her then. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard. Yeah. Just don't follow her. If you don't want to see it, and you don't want to know about it, just don't fucking look at it. No one's forcing you. But you've got to let her process it. If you're going to follow her and you are a fan of her or you care about her in any way, shape or form, you are going to watch her go through this trauma processing, and she has got years and years and years and years of trauma to process, and you're going to have to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You can't fucking just I mean, some of the proper diehard Britney fans will get what I mean by this, but I think there's such thing as fair weather fans that are
agree.
You know what I mean, that love somebody when everything's going great.
Yeah, they will chase it to feel powerful, to get interaction, to get likes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
And people aren't understanding. Like, if their mate was to sit down with them and talk to them about, and literally name women's bodies and say, these women make me feel like this and this, you would hope, and I think it's much more likely that they would be understanding. But when a celebrity does it, if they think, I'm going to comment this because I disagree, and I'm going to, make it into much more than what she said, and I can get loads of likes on it.
I think that's one of the...
And it makes people feel good about themselves.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things about the algorithms and the way that the actual technology works on social media, is that you can write something horrible to someone else that in a pub you'd get fucking punched in the face. Yeah. But on social media you've got 14 people liking it, right? Or maybe more, thousands could be liking it. Yeah. So you're rewarded for bad behaviour. Yeah. You've just said something offensive or personal or insulting, and you got a load of other knobheads going, oh yeah, that's dead funny, Yeah. So you get rewarded for antisocial behaviour. Yeah. Yeah, or illegal behaviour. Because sometimes some of this stuff is not just a shitty comment. It's
absolutely
illegal comments, like death threats, rape threats, all sorts of shit that other people then like. Mm-hmm. It's just, that's a whole other fucking topic though, because social media is weird, the way it's enabled and sort of supported so many of the worst traits of humans. Yeah. Just, that's something else, that is. But
I guess I just want to end on just that I hope that she's got people around her
that care
who
about her.
Care and can see what is happening. And I think that she probably does. But I think the world needs to, in general, just stop jumping on everything, and this sort of call-out culture. It isn't with good intentions. It's to be seen as a social activist.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, writing shitty comments to a slightly badly written post doesn't make you a social justice activist. It makes you a knobhead with a phone.
Au contraire, yes it does. It makes them powerful and important, and makes them feel like they're making some sort of change in the world. Laying into some woman on social media who misspelled something or said something wrong. Mm-hmm. No, I agree with everything you just said. I'm glad we talked about this. I was not planning on doing anything about this. It just came to my mind when we were thinking about podcasts, and I just thought, I wish there was a way. I would feel a lot better if I knew that she had somebody safe, trauma-informed, anti-pathology around her that was sort of sitting her down and going, you know, it is all right to be this angry at your parents. Look at what they've fucking done to you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and also, I know I don't necessarily want to go straight back into another topic particularly, because I do think we need to go, but I do think it's worth just adding, even if I don't have to go into any detail. It is extremely common for women and girls to start going into sexualization, hypersexualization, self-sexualization after years and years and years of abuse. That is normal. Mm-hmm. I've seen it 1 million times, and I'm still going to see it for the rest of my career. Yeah. It's totally normal, and it's
really common.
It's a way of regaining power and control over yourself when you've had no power or control over your body. Yeah, dead common. You could do a whole other podcast on that, actually. Mm-hmm. But I think that what you're seeing with her is just nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. It's just that she's got millions of followers. That's it, really. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that we talked about it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't really want to do a cheers.
I was going to say, let's do a cheers to Britney's recovery.
It's inappropriate.
Oh.
Do you think?
Yeah, I just hope, like...
I want to... I tell you what I will cheers to. Cheers to a fucking calling out of fucking parents.
Yes. Yes.